Hey everybody, it is Nathan and Jess Selove with another edition of You Might Be Autistic.
If.
Tell us about this series for the first time watchers of this channel.
You Might Be Autistic If is a segment that Nathan does with guests sometimes, where he reads comments from you, the viewers, that say, you might be autistic if, and then a scenario or a character trait. And sometimes they're to laugh, and sometimes they're to commiserate with and feel sorry about. But it's just a way of us kind of collaborating in the autistic community about experiences.
Yeah, it also gives us a chance to laugh at ourselves because
sometimes,
as my father said last time we did this, autism can be very funny. So standard disclaimers. You met one autistic. Just because you can relate to some of these doesn't mean that you are autistic. Just because you can't relate to some of these doesn't mean that you aren't autistic. And of course, as always, if we get anybody's name incorrect, please correct us. A lot of people have some really funky gamer tags, or not gamer tags.
user handles?
User handles. Sorry,
they're not funky. They're wonderful. He's just being
funky is a good thing.
Silly.
Funky in a good way. So without further ado, Jess, are you ready to read the first one?
Yes. This is from Feather. You might be autistic if you need to use specific dishes and silverware for eating food. I mostly use plastic dishes and silverware meant for kids.
Interesting.
This is your dad.
Well,
he doesn't use plastic ever.
He doesn't use plastic.
Right. And when your parents go away to like hotels or something, they have to bring at least one set of cutlery for your dad.
Yeah, because he can't stand using other people's silverware.
Because he likes his. It's heavy and it's the perfect size. I think he has this thing with his hands being really big and it needing to be the right weight.
I can relate to that.
Hey, look, if you put your hand in front of your face, it does something really cool.
This is from Atrocious Conundrum. Great name. You might be autistic if you are an adult and find talking to objects, plants, or stuffed animals normal and try to do things to make them feel more comfy.
So, I used to be much more extravagant about this when I was a child, but I had mountains and mountains of stuffed plushies, and I loved them all. I had my favorites, though, and they all knew it. But I would feel so upset if my mom would say I had to take some of them off the bed because I had way too many, and I'd feel upset about who got left out and how would they feel about this, or if I went away somewhere, who could I leave, who could I take, and I would try to talk to them and explain the situation.
Yeah, well, it's that autistic sense of justice, I go full on Charlie Chaplin when I run into inanimate objects, just out of sheer habit. I'll just be like, oh, sorry, to a chair that I just bumped into.
You do bump into a lot of things.
I wonder if Charlie Chaplin was autistic. That'd be awesome. I love Charlie Chaplin.
Abigail Rachel DeWolf said, you might be autistic if you hate social rules but get really upset when others don't stick to them. So
oh, that's funny.
What I found is
we know
consistency.
We know a very specific person who falls into that category.
There's that. But I really hate inconsistencies because I can learn to follow stupid rules even if I hate them. But when someone is inconsistent about enforcing them, it sticks to my, part of it, the sense of justice of you're holding me to a standard that you don't yourself comply with. But it really is confusing and more frustrating than if I had to navigate it on my own.
Yeah. No, it's like neurotypicals know when it's okay to break the rules and when it's not okay to break the rules. And that just doesn't work for me. That just In
general, I think autistics tend to enforce the rules even if they don't like them. I know when I'm in a movie theater and someone is, pulling out their cell phone, I'm just looking around and it's like, why? I need an adult to take care of this.
Yeah. No,
they're not supposed to be filming in here.
Yeah. No, I was actually the person, there's a drive-in near where we live, and I was the person who, as a kid, when people would have their headlights on, I would actually go up to them and be like, hey, please turn your headlights off. This next one is from Random K-Bear. You might be autistic if you see that there's writing on someone's shirt, but you can't quite read it, and then you go through the video again and keep pausing it every single second until you see what the shirt says.
I don't get stuck on shirts, but I get stuck on things that I sort of read or half read, but I didn't really read it. It happens a lot when I'm reading a book because I'll naturally skip, little sentences, and I can understand exactly what's happening by the reader context or by the context and from comprehension, but I'll be like 20 pages ahead and I'll have to go back just to see, like dialogue and then he said.
Yeah. Well, I think that this person is also specifically referring to the shirt that I was wearing in this video. I'm not sure which shirt that is. But I can definitely relate to that. So for the sake of other people, her shirt says "We do it with the lights on." American Shakespeare Center. It's a Shakespeare theater near where we live. So anyway, just so nobody's spending a lot of time trying to figure out what her shirt says.
Yours has Deadpool.
Yeah, mine has Deadpool. No words on there.
So it's almost like our shirts are saying we're autistic for us.
I don't think so.
Random K-Bear also said, you also might be autistic if you are a human. That is true.
Oh my God.
I have
Autistics are humans. Awesome.
All right, but I have wondered if Nathan's dog Blake is autistic.
That is a good point.
Because I love her so, and I observe her when she's trying to play with other dogs, and sometimes her intensity frightens them, and I try to talk with her about how everybody would love to get to know her if she would just pull it back just a little bit so that they could...
Hold on, you're always telling me that she reminds you of me.
What?
Random K-Bear also says, you might be autistic if you love Disney and animals. Yeah, I mean,
Disney as a corporation, no.
Well, obviously
some of their
not.
content...
Well, their content, I mean, a lot of their content
They have
has
Hamilton now. What am I supposed to do?
Well, they also have Star Wars, and, like, Star Wars is one of the greatest nerdy franchises ever. I mean,
No, Hamilton is the best
I mean, Hamilton's good, but, Star Wars is... it's Star Wars, darling. It's Star Wars. Also, I do like animals. I relate to them because they seem to have trouble interacting with humans sometimes, and I can relate to that.
Disney does have a lot of animal-based movies.
Yeah.
And this is from our frequent commenter, Shifty Clutch. If you need advance warning to prepare for a daily routine change, you might be autistic. Don't change the routine.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so stressful. Just thinking about it.
Yeah. No, it's like they say change for the sake of change is just a good thing. No, it's not. There needs to be a very good reason, and I need written notice, all right? At least...
Why, you wouldn't read it.
At least 12 days in advance, signed and approved by my lawyer.
You don't have a lawyer.
Well, then I guess you can't change anything. The next one is from Galija Yeah. You might be autistic if you eat your meal in order. Most people eat one of each food and make it more tasty, I guess. But I, for example, eat my bean burger first, and then fries, then onion rings, then drink the Coke last.
There's this whole thing about mixing of foods. And it really is interesting to me how it plays out in different autistics.
Well, I have a specific way where I kind of try to... I save the food that I like the best for last. So what I'll do is I'll eat the foods that I like least, and kind of, but still every now and then take bites of the food that I like most. And so that way the last thing on my plate is the food that I like most. Unless it's stuff that I like kind of equally. So like when it comes to burgers and fries, I kind of just try to, eat some fries and then eat some of the burger, eat some fries, eat some of the burger.
If it's a texture and a flavor that I like the combination of, like, like broccoli and onions or something, I'll eat that together with like maybe a piece of meat. But if it's something where I don't like the textures together or I don't like the flavors, for instance, I don't understand how people can consider coleslaw something that's appropriate to be served with other savory foods. That is not savory. And also, stop putting raisins in your chicken salad. It's wrong. But, I'm not passionate about it or anything.
Well, that is this week's episode. Thank you so much, everybody who contributed. If you have a You Might Be Autistic If in mind that you would like myself and Jess or whoever the next guest might be to read it and react to it, then feel free to leave a comment down below. And we're still on a little bit of a backlog, but we will get to it at some point. So we really appreciate all the contributors. So that's today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Check out some of my other stuff. And if you want to support the channel in other ways, support me on Patreon.
And remember, if you have an assignment where you're supposed to check the tags on your clothes to see where they were manufactured, and you can't because there are no tags on your clothes, you might be autistic.